I'm gonna hate making this video because we'll be listening to some of my old tracks that sound absolutely terrible. But honestly, I don't care because I know this is going to inspire at least one producer out there. This video is not for me. This is not for me to boast my achievements or anything like that. This video is for you, so I hope it helps you in some way. So on my channel before, I've explained the story of me going to Guitar Center with my family and picking up FL Studio for the first time. But there's actually a story a little bit before that. During the Christmas of 2015, I actually got a Nintendo gift card for my 3DS, and I ended up downloading my first DAW called Rhythmic Ultimate, and it looked like this. Now it's pretty similar to most DAWs, it's just extremely simplified, and it basically looks like it was made for the 3DS, right? You can use the clip editor to make patterns, and you can program in drums and samples and stuff like that, and you can drag the patterns in basically to this playlist here to create the full song. Very basic stuff, right? Anyway, with that in mind, this is one of the first tracks I created, and just a warning, it sounds absolutely terrible. Your ears are going to be bleeding after you listen to this. Are you ready? If you couldn't tell, I tried to remake like that one Zelda song. I don't know, I haven't played Zelda for years, but you know, that one song, I didn't know any music theory. I only knew the very basics, like staying on beat and stuff like that. And then we have this one over here. And by the way, these two were from 2015 and 2016. It's absolutely terrible. And at this point, I feel like I was just messing around. Like I wasn't even taking anything seriously, which of course is how you should start making music. Anyway, I don't really want to pay any more attention to these. I don't associate with them anymore. Let's move on to 2017. At the beginning of the year, me and my family went to Guitar Center and I picked up FL Studio for the first time. And so after a few months of watching tutorials, downloading sample packs, etc., this is one of the tracks I made. There's this terrible white noise effect that I thought was cool. So a little bit of improvement, as you can tell. It's definitely more structured and not just some like random idea like this. And I knew very basic music theory. I at least knew how to stay in key when making a melody and stuff like that. But if you listen closely, there's just a ton of random effects and stuff that aren't on key. And of course, that just makes it sound bad. Let's go to the build up. This is like the world's worst build up ever. Yeah, I'm not gonna play the rest of that. I think I also sampled the one kick from Martin Garrix's Animals, and I thought this track was like really good. Nowadays, I think differently. But either way, you can at least tell that I made a little bit of progress between here and here. Let's move on to 2018. And skip it a little bit. So from 2017 to 2018, there was once again some improvement. And I actually started downloading more FL Studio templates and just analyzing them and adding my own sounds and just seeing how they mixed it and stuff like that. But once again, the mixing and mastering is off. It's completely squashed. And if you listen to it, it just doesn't sound balanced. Like you can really hear that the clap is just being squashed down in there. The biggest thing that I learned this year was to literally just download templates and see how they made them, especially when you're first starting out, because that way you're gaining all these different perspectives from other producers and you're seeing their projects and how they mix them and stuff like that. So let's move on to 2019. This is a track called Overdrive, and you can probably find it if you search for it.
Now you're going to hear some music that is just the opposite of soft music. It makes you feel like rooting for your favorite team, like talking it all.
Let's skip it a little bit. you can tell, I started getting more into the dubstep genre at the time. And by the way, I was actually featured on Moonboy's Try Not to Headbang challenge or something like that.
Bro, you're 13? No f***ing way.
But a little bit of backstory about this track. I actually submitted this to a label. I'm not going to name which one it is, and they ended up accepting it and giving me feedback over months. It took them a long time to respond to all my messages, and from July to September, they would continue to give me feedback messages, but they would take very long to respond. I remember having a notepad of all the feedback that they gave me. I'd write it down and then go apply to the track and send it back to them and wait for another update for like a week, which is obviously kind of a red flag. And after months of back and forth feedback and messaging and talking with them, and they even made the cover art and a video and all of that, they ended up not releasing the track and I had to self-release it. It's a very long story and I'm not going to get into detail. It sucked, especially only being 13 at the time. It made me think that I wasn't going to be successful or something like that. But after like a day of thinking about it, I actually took it more well than I thought it would. It was a good experience and I'm actually really thankful for it. Anyway, let's move on to 2020. Skip it a little bit. So as you can tell, this year I was trying to do more of the Snail's House future bass style music. And also, as you can tell, throughout my entire life, I've pretty much just had shiny object syndrome. Like I would switch genres every year as well as switch aliases, which was terrible. But this track was called Bubble Tea. I cringe at it, but at the same time, this song did end up being used as the intro theme to one of the most famous streamers in the world, which is Valkyrae. So this song ended up being played to thousands of people. And by the way, this story is from 2022. So I made this song in 2020, but it didn't end up being used until 2 years later. Like you never know where your music is just going to end up. Anyway, let's move on to 2021. Actually, I can open the project to this track right now. Honestly, this is one of my most favorite tracks that I've ever made. I think the melody is really unique, the concept is really cool. I really just wanted to experiment and try and find my sound. At the time, I was also taking lessons at this music production school, was one of the #1 things that helped me improve my skills. I mean, just think about how cool it is to have producers in real life that you know, or even producers that are better than you that can teach you the stuff that they know. I think a lot of producers just have that 1 year where just everything kind of improves rapidly for some reason. And for me, this was one of those years. And then here's another one called Awaken. The main thing I learned from 2021 is to just find people that are better from you, find mentors, and find friends and a community of producers that have the same goals and aspirations as you. Because truthfully, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I didn't even spend the most time with these people, right? It was only like once a week in a private lesson with my mentor. But just being around there and knowing that there are other people like me was insanely powerful, and I improved a lot this year. Anyway, 2022. This was by far one of the weirdest years in my production. I'm just gonna play these tracks and just let me know what you think.
Get over it.
I think that sounds pretty cool. Some more melodic dubstep with some vocals and stuff. And then we have this over here. Stuff like this. The reason this year was so weird for me is because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I kind of just started switching back and forth between opportunities and directions. I had some connections to labels, but I didn't know if I wanted to release my music. I was getting more into the rap and trap scene, and I started liking Rage a lot, and I even met a few friends that make stuff like this. So I was kind of just torn between like 3 directions at the same time. I started reaching out to artists, uploading my beats to Instagram, posting pretty much daily on YouTube. At the same time, I was teaching at a music school and ghost producing, and then I basically just dropped everything. But I honestly don't know how I feel about this year. It was weird. The main thing I learned in 2022 was to stop having shiny object syndrome and bouncing from career to career, because every single time you choose a new path, you're basically restarting your entire career. So 2023. So we got some orchestral type stuff. We also got some more future bass. I also went back to dubstep. I even experimented with color bass. "2023 was just like my year of experimentation. All I was doing at the time was selling sample packs and teaching, and then just experimenting while making music. That's it. That's why, as you can tell, all of these tracks are just ideas and not finished tracks like everything else here, which honestly I'm fine with it because it was just pure experimentation, and that's something I recommend to every single producer. Just have like 6 months to a year where you go on hiatus and you basically just experiment with no judgment or no filter at all, and just make whatever. And because you're taking a step back, this will force you to find the career path that you actually enjoy, your unique sound, and all of that stuff. Especially after 2022, it was a breath of fresh air. Also, through all of this experimenting, as well as reading and stuff like that, I started to learn more about the mindset stuff that I speak about on this channel. So the biggest things I learned in 2023 was that writer's block does not exist and that it's a myth, but also to not be blinded by the dreams of other producers. What do I mean by that? Well, for example, just because you see another producer or maybe a producer friend selling beats or sample packs and becoming successful off of it doesn't mean you're actually going to enjoy it, because there's a lot of stuff that you don't see and that you're idealizing. Now, obviously, you might actually want that, and that's completely fine. But what I'm trying to say is just to take a step back and find what you actually want to do with your music. For me, it's content creation, releasing my own music really soon, and stuff like that. I'm actually just going to open a few projects and show you what I've made this year. So here's a pretty unique drill beat that I made just for fun. I mean, I might send it to an artist or something like that. I have a few connections, but we'll see. Yeah, that was fun to make. I basically just took a sample, chopped it up, reversed it, and filtered it like crazy, and then I came up with this, so it was really fun. And so here's another project. It's a feature bass track actually that is almost finished and will likely be my first release. Stick with the path that you're on. Keep learning, keep producing. Hopefully this video gave you some sort of insight or helped you in some way. We're starting a small movement of producers who know this stuff. I mean, imagine all of us producers improving our mental health, our music skills, our mindset. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And once again, I hope this video helped you in some way. You can go check the links in the description. It's completely up to you. But But anyway, make music now and you'll thank yourself later. Peace.